Yay!
Hi, everybody. Really excited to bring you the next installment of our Social Media for Higher Ed webinar series for 2016. Super excited about our guest speaker and our topic today. Hope you guys are too. We have with us today Veena Jensen, and she's going to be talking all about how to better understand your target market and some tips and tricks and hacks that corporate marketers and big brands use that we can use for ourselves and our campuses here in higher ed. So super excited to talk with her today. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to post them up. If you're on YouTube or on Google+, let us know. We also have a Dropbox folder with all of the handouts for today, so that way you can grab those. We've also posted that in the chat and in our questions as well. So if you can't access that, let us know. Also follow us along on Twitter. We'll have a back channel going, hashtag SM4HigherEd, so you'll find those. And without much ado, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to Veena. We're really excited about talking with her today. So Veena, tell us about it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Veena Jensen Butch, and when Cassandra first asked me to be a part of this group and to do a Google Hangout, which, by the way, this is my first one, so hi, everyone. It's a little unsettling. And so, I just started thinking about what has really changed in my perspective of marketing from the 17 years that I was a director at a program at a community college in Lane County in Eugene. During that time, I was in charge of marketing, and so I did work with the marketing department, of course. And then after I left Lane, I had a couple years as a consultant, and then I went on to start my business, Vibrant Internet Marketing, 5 years ago. And really because I just love social media so much, and I wanted to kind of step into that arena. And so I've had the privilege of working with some wonderful corporations and businesses since that time, and have really kind of honed and fine-tuned my marketing in the arena, instead of the arena of the public institution, which I loved, now working with corporations. So I just started really asking myself, what has changed in my perspective and my understanding? And it really comes down, I think, to that bottom line. So when you're working with a corporation, you're really always focused on, bringing in money. And as a marketer, you're responsible for making sure that those leads come in, and so you have those sales, and that's always your focus. And in order to do that, you really have to have a good understanding of your target market and the process that they go through to actually want to choose your product or services, right? So that's a whole kind of different mindset that I had when I was in higher ed. And so I thought that maybe bringing that to you today might be useful or helpful for you. So in the end, it's all still about your customer, right, or your client, however you state that, your student, your parents that are choosing your school, whoever it is that's making that bottom line decision. But I think that in the corporate world, we're just a lot more focused on that bottom line. And for me, at least, when I was a director, I was more focused on providing the services and making sure that the quality of the trainings that we offered and the quality of our services were high end. And maybe a little less worried about bringing customers in. So I think, I thought I was a really good listener. I thought that I knew what, our students wanted and our participants wanted. But the truth is, it just really wasn't the same kind of a mindset. So the other kind of big piece that if you're here on this Hangout today is that, marketing has really changed. Now we are in the world of the internet. People no longer want to be sold to. They don't want to be spammed. They don't want to have to get things in the mail that they don't want to read. They want to be more in charge of finding what they're looking for and making their own decisions and having the information that they need to make those decisions. So in today's marketing world, we really focus on the content, providing content for our potential prospective clients as well as our current clients. So, Andrea, am I saying that right? Like, is client a good term to use? Student? What would be the right kind of term?
Probably audience.
Audience? Okay.
And really well, actually it could be clients as well. So we as social media marketers in higher ed, we represent the voice of our brand or our campus or our university. And
Sure.
right. And so how do we reach the people that we're interested in reaching, but also understanding that different platforms and different campaigns are going to resonate with different users, right? We're going to write to parents a little bit differently than we might write to prospective students. We might share different things for current students versus prospective students. And so there's a multitude of audiences that are in there. So I think it's great for our people to really understand that we can borrow this information from corporate, right? This isn't anything different than, Chipotle or Starbucks talking to their brand. We do the same thing. We just do it a little bit differently, right? We're telling our story through a little bit of a different lens and a different kind of story for our marketers. So yeah, different.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. And so what, I just lost my train of thought. So yeah, so it's not, again, it's about content. So it comes back to content for corporate and I think for higher ed as well. So we're going to be thinking about that in terms of our audiences. So now today, one thing, we're looking at also that whole media part of social media, right? So it's blogging, it's YouTube videos, it's Google Hangouts, it's all the different pieces, infographics, and so that can be a little overwhelming. And so really what we want to do is make sure that those tools or that media that we provide is really going to be on target and it's going to resonate with our audiences, right? So how do we do that? How do we step behind the scenes and make sure that we're what the work and the time and the effort and the money that we're putting into creating this content is going to actually resonate and be what they're looking for? So how do we know that? That's really what we're going to talk about today. So the place that we start is with understanding them, learning about them, and having an open mind. I know in Zen I have that idea of a beginner's mind. So every day when I start my work for my corporate accounts, I just kind of wanted to share that I start with that idea of a beginner's mind, that I'm here today. It's a fresh slate, and I'm going to start learning new things every single day. And that's part of what's exciting about social media and so much fun. And so I hope today to bring to you some new ideas and some new concepts and some new tools that you can use that will make your job exciting and fun. And I know it does for me. So how I want to do this today is I want to share my screen and go through the handouts that I have created or provided for you. Now, some of these are ones I already use in the corporate world, but exactly what Cassandra was saying is they are totally applicable to higher ed as well. So the other thing I want you to know is that today I'm not going to go in depth into any one part of understanding your target audience. Just because of the time factor. So what we're really doing today is giving you an overview. And we'll go through the tools that I'm going to present. I'll go through as many as I can in the time that we have allotted. But I do have more information for you than what we can actually cover today. So that's available to you as well. So let's just jump right in and get started. And the place that we really start is in creating what are known as personas or avatars. So I'm going to assume that you have a sense of what that already is. So it's really the idea of creating a detailed persona or profile of each of your target audience segments. All right. So I'm going to switch over and we're going to take a look at the handout that I have for you that is a worksheet. So let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen. Okay, so it says.
Yep, so right up, second one down, there should be a green monitor with an arrow.
Yeah, I got that. So it's giving me some choices, some different choices. Oh, entire screen. This is saying entire screen or Google Hangout screen, I guess. I'll try that one.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and open my handouts, and I want to get to the, so what I have for the work, so this is the profile worksheet here.
It's still showing me. I think you're showing your Google Hangout screen.
Yes, was that a mistake?
Try doing share your whole screen.
Okay.
Let's try that.
Okay, so now, okay, here we go.
And now you're back. Okay.
So now this is in PDF. I'm hoping the PDF will work.
There we go. Awesome.
Is that good?
Yep. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this is the profile worksheet that I use when I start to set up with a new client. We go over this for each of the target audience segments that we have created. So, really, this is just really looking at who they are, getting some demographic kind of information. Then we talk a lot about what are they looking for, what are their pain points, what are their triggers, and the touch points that we're going to be looking for as we move forward with developing content for them and developing what we call a buyer's journey that we're going to talk about in just a little bit. And then we also talk a lot about the solutions that company or that brand is offering, and that's something that you want to get a lot of clarity around. And how is that fit? Where does that fit for this particular segment of audience? How do your solutions particularly fit with them? And then we talk about some inspiration, some intangibles, positioning, what I call the vibrant factor, and that is just what is especially makes your brand shine. And then online and offline hangouts, where do they hang out online and offline? So taking the time to do this. Now I also have a handout that has a lot of questions that I use when I'm creating this profile. So let me get to that right here. Let's see here. Okay, so here we have the questions that I go through, that I use when I'm creating that worksheet. So it's just kind of like a cheat sheet that you can use. Not every single question is going to apply to each target segment. So it's just really kind of going through and using the questions to help your think tank kind of a time, and making sure that you're covering all the pieces that you need in order to create that persona. Now, some marketers actually use a picture. Let's see, I'm trying to just close this tab. I'm scared I'm going to close everything down, so I want to go back. It's a little unnerving here. Yeah, so they actually create like an image, like a picture, and they might even put it up on their wall. And so they would create like a persona, like someone with a name that represents that target segment, and start to actually call them by name. And this just kind of creates that sense of a bond or familiarity with that particular persona. So that's kind of fun. It's also called an avatar. But you can use this handout, and you can use those questions to really get clarity around who your audience is and what they're looking for and how your organization is going to meet their needs. All right, are there any questions? Is there some way I can, this is kind of a good time to kind of take questions if there are any.
We don't have any just yet, actually.
Okay.
Questions. So if you guys have any questions, if you're using Google Hangout, feel free to post them in there. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and post them in the comment section below. If you're, we also have a Google Drive. So if you had that link, we are accepting responses on that as well. So however you guys have questions, send them in. Definitely we'll ask them out live. So Veena,
yeah,
what would you say is the reason that people would build out this persona so robustly, right? Why would they give it a picture?
The reason is because in order to really create the content that is going to resonate with that particular audience, you have to have a really in-depth knowledge of who they are, what they're looking for. So think about it in this way. let's say you're the multicultural department at a university, right? And you need to really think about marketing or targeting incoming students that are in different target audience segments, right? So you probably wouldn't create the same online marketing content or engage with each segment the same. So think about an African American woman, maybe young woman, and that might be really, really different than a young man who is of Asian descent or has an Asian culture, right? So it's just kind of thinking about, or someone who has a disability, that might be a really different type of content that you might create than someone who is new to America and doesn't speak much English yet, and so you have to think about the language barriers. So it's just really thinking about what is it that they're looking for in your institution, what's going to draw them in, what kind of content, because remember, nobody wants to be sold to, no one wants to be, we don't want to be spammy, we want to be helpful and provide useful information. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is to really have a good in-depth understanding.
That's so awesome. I think that's maybe something that's often overlooked when we're creating campaigns, or we're thinking about, well, how do we get more Snapchat users? How do we get more Instagram people? How do we get more followers on Facebook? Is to really think about, at the basic level, who are we talking to, right? So
that is so true. And I think that's why I wanted to share this today, is because I just never really took the time to really, I knew I had target segments and, language barriers and all that kind of thing, but I wasn't really taking the time to really think about things from the prospective students or participants' perspective.
That's
Does
awesome.
that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
It really does, because if you're trying to share content and you think about it as, what is Sally, the first-year freshman, what is she going to want to know when she gets here? We can't use all the jargon we normally use because she's never been here before. She's not going to understand it. Or, what is Sally's mom concerned about, right? She's dropping her baby freshman off at college. What are some things that are really going to resonate with Sally's mom? And if we think about it from that way, maybe it's more helpful and easier to kind of create content where we can put a name on it, right? What is Sally's mom going to want to see on our Facebook page? What is Sally going to want to see on our Instagram? So,
right, and that may not be the same thing that you want to share with Sally. That's something, and one of the big reasons why we do personas is because what a student or a potential prospect is thinking that they're looking for and is in their mind, and what is their pain point, what they're struggling with, may not be what we really want them to know yet. They're not ready yet for what we want to tell them. So we have to start from where they are and then lead them through the process until they're ready to make a decision that's best for them, right?
Right.
And so that actually is a great segue into the buyer's journey, because so we have this information, we've taken the time to really go in depth into the target market segment, or the person, like you're saying, Sally. So we have a good sense of what Sally is looking for, but now we need to really think about her journey or her process of decision making. That's really what this is about. And this is a big, big deal in the corporate world. This is talked about practically every single day in the marketing and sales world. And so really what it is taking the time to, again, think about that process that someone goes through from when they first become aware of your institution until they're actually ready to become a student and ready to make that decision. Okay, so the basic stages usually will include awareness. So we start with awareness. And this is thinking, we want to just think about, where is your ideal customer, where is Sally, when she's most likely to become aware of your organization. So, and what does she need in order to want to learn more about your organization? So this is really thinking about, so it's where on the internet is she most likely to be located? do you want to answer that, Cassandra? Do you like, I mean.
And that's definitely something that I think we really do struggle with as colleges, is where are our students hanging out? Chegg and M. Stoner did a great webinar last week or the week after, if you check them out online. And they were really talking about how what we think students are doing isn't necessarily actually what they are doing in practice. And so they had a great chat about, they had done a lot of research and talked to potential students about where they were finding out information. And so when we think about it, we hear, oh, well, Facebook's dead. College students aren't really on Facebook anymore. But that really wasn't true. They were getting a lot of information, and they were searching it out on those platforms that we have been told or have been hearing that, oh, well, young people aren't on that anymore. So if you get a chance to check that out, they had some really great things, and really thinking about where are students getting their information from. In addition to, you know, our admissions offices and enrollment management are probably doing this and thinking about this conversation a lot, but how can we loop them into the conversation and share that knowledge, right? Where are our students that we want to reach? Where are their parents? Where are they hanging out? How can we grab their attention and or make our content available when they're ready for it and easy to find, right? Is it easily navigatable when they're ready to come, say, to campus and book a campus tour? Is that easy to understand? Is that process intuitive? Do we make it easy to be found? I think a lot of colleges really struggle with that. A lot of departments struggle with that. And you can go to many academic websites and they look like they are written by and for faculty members. Well, that's great, except for if you're trying to reach an 18-year-old freshman, you know, the verbiage, the pictures, the style of your website is not going to really be, you might not want the same things. If you're
That's exactly right. Yep.
So
right.
a lot of interesting thoughts that can kind of go into that back and forth. So
absolutely. And, you know, in the corporate world, this is where I really present the idea about social networks, because we know that especially your target demographic are on social networks, and they have, you know, networks that we don't, those of us who are older may not even be aware of. And so just kind of really thinking about where are they at, and you know, what are some of those networks, doing the research, I think, behind where they possibly are hanging out. And I'm going to give you a resource soon. Cassandra, you may be already aware of the Pew research that's done on social media, but we do really rely on that. I'm going to share that in just a minute.
Awesome.
So when you really think about awareness, it's going to be Google search, right? Like everyone searches Google. So that's something to really be aware of as well. And then social networks. So those are the two big ones that we look at under awareness. Then comes interest. So now, if you have done your homework, you've done your persona, and you've followed the steps, and you have that content, you're posting that content, you're engaging with your audience on the networks of where they are. If there's someone that is maybe going to be a good fit for your institution, they're going to want to learn more, right? And so now we think about, okay, what is that next step? What questions does your ideal customer want answered when he or she is ready to learn more about your organization? So being prepared ahead of time. So where do you think a potential customer or potential student is going to go when they want to learn more about your organization or their parent?
Right. Probably the first thing is going to be through Google.
Yep. Well, it's, you know, believe it or not, Facebook search, Twitter search is a big deal, and then, but Google definitely as well. So they're going to want to go to your website, right? Right. Yeah. And so this is where a blog becomes really important. People love blogs, and Google loves blogs. And so, you know, making sure that you have a blog and that it's kept updated regularly. And even if you have, I mean, I would suggest one even just for each department. And I don't know what is sort of the norm at the organization that you're working at, but I would highly recommend a blog for each department. Just because, especially that age group, they love blogs, they love to search through, they like the imagery that's involved, and we always want to be providing them with a variety of different media. So that's really, you know, they're going to go to your website and they're going to go to your blog. Then they're going to want to shop and compare. They're going to want to compare, so they'll search across the internet, and you just want to make sure that the information that you have on your website and that you're providing to them, if they sign up on your email list and you're sending out information, that it's going to give them the information that they need to be able to do that comparison. So this is kind of where marketing has really changed. We're not so much about trying to force people to choose what is to force people to choose our institution. We're not trying to, in any way, we're just trying to provide the information and invite them and make sure that we're doing a good job of presenting them with the information that they need. So hold on just a second. I just got a message here.
So the link that we just posted, you might want to minimize that window. It's showing everything.
Okay.
Or pull it down or go back to your so the link that we posted actually just goes back to our questions. Do we have that Dropbox link?
It's
share.
Can you find it? I sent it to you like earlier this morning. It's in your Facebook. I would have to reopen another window to do it.
Okay.
Did I grab the wrong one from the?
Yeah, that one is the link
chat
for Google Form.
Yeah. So it's in Facebook chat, and it's it'll say Dropbox in it.
Okay, let me see.
All right.
I'll work on it.
Okay. So then once they've done their comparisons, now they're ready to actually make their decisions. So again, we're looking at what do they need to do to, making sure that they know how they can enroll, where the enrollment form is, what information they need to enroll. Do they need to come in and meet with an advisor? Can they get that set up online? People nowadays, they like to use their mobile devices to set things up. And so making sure that people are comfortable using their technology to move forward with making their decision. And then the piece that a lot of times gets left out of this buyer's journey is really the evaluation. So we want to continue to refine and improve our buyer process. And that's so important because we need feedback from people who have used the process. We want to be asking surveys. We want to be engaging people in finding out how this worked for them, what we could do better. So there's lots of different ways of doing that, but we want to make sure that we're continuing to refine and improve the process. And sometimes that's just really because of the changing technology. We want to make sure that we're being responsive to that. So there are questions to ask here. I've included questions that you can ask at each stage. So we would apply these questions to each one of those stages that we just went through. So what is the status quo? Okay. I'll get that Dropbox link to you in just a minute. So what is the status quo pain point and where they are on Pain Island? So this is kind of a little scenario that I like to use is when I'm thinking about my persona, Sally, she is currently on what we call Pain Island. So her Pain Island might be that she wants to go to college. She doesn't know where she's going to go. She's in a quandary. Her parents want her to do something. Her friends want her to go somewhere. She needs to make a decision about what's best for herself. So that's really where she's going to be on Pain Island. So we think about Pain Island, and then we think about, later on, we're going to talk a little bit about Pleasure Island. So what would that look like for her? And what is that process or that yacht that's going to take her from Pain Island to Pleasure Island? And that's really where you come in as a marketer. You're that transportation that's going to get her from one point to the other. So really thinking about, again, what questions does she have? And what would that look like when she gets to where she wants to be? Because painting that picture for her as a marketer is going to help her to recognize that that's what she wants, so it's going to be actually a helpful thing, and it's going to encourage her to make her best decision. This is all about content, what information, what materials, what media is needed, what's going to be attractive for her at her age, at her developmental stage and where she's at in trying to make her decision, what support is needed and how will it be offered. And then who all needs to be involved in the marketing. This is kind of stepping back. Who needs to be involved to make this happen? So a lot of times I know at larger institutions, we don't make marketing decisions in a silo. So we're often bringing in lots of different people to guide this process. And the more people that we can involve, that that makes sense and is appropriate, the better off we're going to be. And so making sure that those lines of communication are open, because this involves really lots of different positions within your department or your organization to make this happen.
And that's awesome, because I don't think a lot of people really look at thinking about the process, right? So we know how the process works as staff at our colleges, at our universities, but how many of us actually have a plan on what are all the 100,000 steps that a student has to go through, from initial interest in our university to applying to getting their acceptance? What are the next steps? Do they go to orientation? Do they go to advising? Do they get housing next? What about dining plans? What about moving in? What size refrigerator? How do you pick classes? What if your classes are full? And so I think at a lot of our universities, we don't ever really get the chance to sit down at one table and map out what does that process look like. Across all the different offices. When was the last time, advising got to sit down with admissions or with orientation or dining services even to say, at what point in this student's buyer journey, right, in our onboarding of this student and their families, that we actually address these concerns, and or do we even know what the next step is, right? So if you're a link in a chain, do you know what the other links do? And so if we can map out what does that process look like, then we could better able to say, okay, at this point, the student's probably going to have questions about X. And if they don't, we need to let them know, hey, now it's time to pick your dining plan. That's when this happens. And so we can kind of anticipate those needs a little bit better. And being able to understand truly how does the process work, and then from that being able to identify what are the breakdowns in that process, where are the gaps that we as marketers could fill in for our students to let them know, hey, you've just been admitted, next step is going to be housing, then it's dining, then it's advising and picking your classes. And so do them in this order. This is the sort of content that our students and their families are really going to want from us, and that we as the frontline, mouthpiece of the university or our department really need to be cognizant of, so that way we're not being reactive on what the student wants, we're being proactive, and making that student experience better, because I think at the end of the day, that's really what the students really want from us.
Absolutely, and that's what this is all about, is making a seamless process for the student or for your audience, and also what their housing options are could help them make a decision. And so, or there's a variety of different elements that you might present that could be the deciding factor. So that's, you want to just make sure that you're looking at that from that student's perspective. Absolutely. And then the last one is, how will you integrate online and offline marketing? So again, you may need to bring a variety of people to the table to really get through and make sure that you have a more comprehensive understanding of what is needed in terms of online and offline marketing. But we want to make sure that we're using offline marketing to promote our online marketing and vice versa. So we just want to make sure that all of those things are integrated together.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions?
We do have one.
Okay.
We do have one on here. So we have a question. Do people ever survey their target market to find out what kinds of content they want? And is that something that you would recommend?
I would highly recommend doing that, and we do that all the time. And we usually will use like a poll or maybe even a contest, a giveaway, something like that to provide an incentive. People like to, have a reason to actually participate in those kinds of things. But absolutely, people are, I kind of consider it crowdsourcing, and people love doing it and providing you with that information. It can be extremely helpful. So absolutely, yes. And I have resources on the market research handout that you can use for that. So
awesome. If you want to switch back over to me, and if you want to grab that that link again, that would be really great. Thanks,
Yes.
Ramona, for posting up about that. We'll get you those handouts. And hopefully that answers your question about target market stuff. But yeah, totally a great option. Maybe think about, focus groups, especially for our friends who are maybe working in smaller departments, or you're managing, social for your college and you're trying to reach your existing students. Think about doing focus groups. Bring in some students, bring in some families, and ask them what's going to be the best thing that you could post that's going to answer questions that they have. And I think that would really go over very well for those students, and they're going to feel, genuinely concerned and heard about. For our students, we're always talking about, how can we best make them feel like they're wanted and that their opinions are valid. Focus groups might be that for your students, right? For your parents. They want to feel heard. What's going to be interesting to them? And it might be something that maybe you've never thought about. Maybe they really want, they want to go and see what's being made for lunch today. And maybe that becomes a Facebook Live video every day. You're showing what your residence hall is serving, or your cafeteria is serving. That might be something really cool that parents might tell you they want that maybe we never would have thought about before. So focus groups, Ramona, that sounds awesome. We look forward to, let us know if you end up doing one on your campus too, because that would be really cool. We'd love to see it in there. Do we have that link? Are we good?
I'm working on it here, so
okay.
I got it, and I'm
No
gonna add it
worries.
again. Let's see here.
No
see if
worries.
this is better.
No worries at all. Awesome.
Okay, there we go.
Let's grab this. All right, switching back to you. Okay.
Okay.
Let's double check this. All right, guys, we got it. All right, I'm going to post the link down in the comments, and as well on our Google Plus page. So we'll have all these handouts so you guys can follow along while Vina's talking. All right.
Okay, I'm looking to my thing of what's next here. So that was the buyer's journey. So did that seem like that was a clear, and you have a good sense of what that is all about?
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Really trying to get in the heads of the people we're trying to talk to, which makes sense.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now you have a good sense of who your target audience is, and you have a sense of what their journey is for making their decision. Now we're going to step back a little bit and do some research. All right. So with marketing, we always do a lot of research. Just put this down and get to where we need to be. So now I'm looking for the research your target market handout. And now I need to go back and figure out how to share my screen again. There we go. Yay. Hopefully, is that working?
Yep, there we go.
Okay. So now we want to, let's back up a little bit. Okay. So now we want to really think about stepping back. So now you have a lot of understanding of what you know and what your perspective is, and now we want to step out and do some more research. So we do start usually with Google search, and people overlook it and forget that. When you do Google search and you put in a keyword, and it'll often bring up make suggestions for you. Those are based on common searches, and so we actually in business we do look at that as a starting point a lot of times. We also try to determine the influencers, and we use, this is kind of an inside trick that I like to use a lot. I found to be really useful. So when we think about books or magazines that your target audience, what kind of books is Sally wanting to read? What kinds of magazines might she be reading? What are some of the topic areas that she is going to be wanting to look at? And if you go into the Kindle books, I'm sure you may know about Kindle books. You just go to search Kindle books, and you can use search criteria and find books that would apply to your target audience. And if you go and do the look inside, usually you can see the table of contents, and that is going to give you a really good list of the kinds of content your target audience is looking for. You can also use Amazon Books to find those influencers. So who is, writing books that people are wanting to read, and going to their sites and following them on social media, that way you're starting to and see what kinds of content they're providing, and that can really also help you with those decisions, that content, and really getting a sense of that. Now, this is the study that I was referring to before, and I'm not sure if it's going to let me link and open it. Let's see here. Yeah, so we're going to have quite a few things that we're going to want to look at online. So can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so this is in business that we use this research all the time, the Pew Research Center. Are you familiar with this study?
No, I'm not. No.
Oh yeah, this is a really, really great one. So this is where the best and most reliable source of information in my experience for key social networking platforms. So, and they do update this fairly regularly. I think this information here is 2013. There may be a newer one that you can, I thought there was a 2014, but this is the one that came up right here. So you can look for those. And basically what this is going to give you is information on all internet users, and then how many of them use Facebook. So these are pretty current numbers that are still being used right now. So 71% of all internet users have a Facebook account or use the internet. We can see the breakdown between men and women. We can see the breakdown, which is all kind of pretty, equal in terms of culture, background. But looking here at, there are more women than men, but look, 66% of men are on Facebook too. And I think that surprises a lot of people how active men are. And then if you take a look here at the age brackets, so you might be looking at more the 18 to 29 age brackets for most universities and colleges. And look at this, 84% use Facebook. That's a really huge number. And so I would agree with the researchers that you were referring to earlier, that definitely they are on Facebook. Whether they admit it or not, they're there. And so this just really gives you here, high school grad or less, 71. Look, once they get into college, that increases slightly. And so this just really gives you that breakdown, urban, suburban, and rural. So you can use this to say, okay, is my target audience on these different platforms? And so Twitter, let's just take a look here. So Twitter, so 18% of all internet users are on Twitter. That's a much lower number, but I would say these are very faithful. Twitter people just are, we see people very much on Twitter a lot. If they are, if they are using Twitter, we see usually a lot of consistency. Again, you can see that there's a spike for Black, for I would say African Americans are on Twitter, proportionally a higher amount. Again, we're still seeing a large amount of young people, 31%, of those. So wow. This just really gives you, here's Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. So these are the key platforms. I don't think and then we also have frequency, like how often are they on. So they do just focus on those primary sites. They are the ones that they research. But this could be very, very helpful.
That's awesome. Yeah, we'll be sure to get everybody the link to that, the Pew Research people, and where to find all of that, because that's really, really such great information. They're also on Twitter as well. So
they are. They definitely are.
At Pew Internet. We'll put some links in the YouTube comment section as well as the link to this particular study to make it easier for folks to really check that out. And really, it stems from, understand, not just using anecdotal data of, students aren't on Facebook anymore, but really understanding, what are their really and truly habits that we can understand better for those parents and their students.
Yes, and there's also, here I talk about the 39 demographic segments comprising Facebook audience insights. And so these are the demographic segments that are used for Facebook advertising primarily. And so I actually didn't include that into the Dropbox yet, but I can certainly do that.
Awesome.
And basically what this is about in 2013, Facebook partnered with some really big companies like Axiom.
Okay.
That provides, I'm trying to remember the numbers, it's like 1,500 pieces of information on each Facebook user.
Wow.
Yeah, so they have just incredible amount of information and demographic information on Facebook, and that's really what makes their advertising so powerful. So these days, I really recommend any brand put aside money for Facebook advertising, because there's just no other advertising opportunity in the world that's anywhere close. Most of my ad campaigns that I run give me, likes or clicks to my website or to my landing page within, like around 40 cents is like even a little high, like 30 to 40 cents. And that's just a really awesome, very low cost per prospect that you're going to gain. So I can share that with you. It's kind of really interesting, those profiles that they've created. So those could be actually a really nice base for your persona creation. So I will include that for you.
Awesome.
Yep. And then we use social media to conduct research. And so I have more tools that we're going to go over in just a minute. Twitter is a really, really big one, and we're going to talk about the Twitter Advanced Search, and I'll actually show you how to get there. So this just gives you kind of a cheat sheet that you can refer back to of how to use that, the Twitter Advanced Search. You can even search by sentiment. We know that young people use a lot of emojis, so really consider using that as well. Another one that I like to use when I'm doing target market research is the Quora. And this is kind of like Answers. There's another one online where people can go in and ask any kind of question that they want, and then they crowdsource the answer. So the answer may not be particularly quality, although lots of them really are. But what I find this to be so helpful is in, what are those questions that Sally or Randy or who, your prospects, your target audience, what are the questions that they're asking? What are they interested in? And you might be surprised in those questions that are being asked. So if we have time, I'll show you how that works and how to kind of use that a little bit. And this gives more in-depth search suggestions here. And then Pinterest is the big one that I use for visual inspiration. And so I like to go there and I like to create like a secret board, and I actually will do my research using a secret board that the public cannot see. And that's just where I just find photographs, all kinds of graphics, all kinds of different memes and different kinds of things that you would never even think of. And the nice thing about Pinterest is that once you get started, it can kind of lead you down a path of different kinds of content. And so those are some of the core ways and that I actually do the research. So do you have any question with that?
That is awesome. I don't think people really have gotten in depth with Pinterest and looked at it as a way to really promote what their campuses and everybody are doing. But that's a great idea to use private boards or secret boards to be able to curate some more of this interesting research that you're kind of pulling in and seeing what's resonating with students, what's resonating with their parents, what's getting hits, what's getting shared. And is there a way that we can put our brand or our stamp or our story out there so that way our students can find it?
Right.
Things going on our campus all the time, and how can we organize that? So we've actually got a webinar coming up in a couple of weeks. We've got a Pinterest expert who's going to jump online and talk to us about how to really use Pinterest to drive traffic to not only our website but also putting things out there that would be useful for students. Right, at the end of the day, we are here for our students. If we don't have students, we don't have colleges. So
absolutely, absolutely, I use it all the time for a variety of different uses, but I definitely do use it for the target audience research as well. So I'm so excited that we have time that I can show you this, because this is one of my most favorite research, and it's totally free, and so it's a lot of fun. So what, can you help me out with a keyword that you think might be useful for folks today that are on our Hangout?
So for students, they're probably looking at it's summer, right? So move-in is coming up, so maybe dorms, what to bring to school, what to bring to my dorm, residence hall. So that's probably a big question that students are searching, prospective students and incoming freshmen right now.
Okay, so let's see what happens. Here we go. I love that guy picking his teeth. It's like, hurry up.
Good. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so now,
as an industry, we're really trying to get away from the word dorm and calling it residence halls, but the movies and colloquialisms are just dorms are how it is. So
yeah, so that's a good amount of questions that we came up with, 47 questions. So what this is, these are the kinds of questions that they've sourced the whole internet, and these are the kinds of questions that are commonly asked. And I just love this. There's just so many different, what is a dormitory in Japanese? What is dormitory management system? Who invented a dormitory? Where is a dormitory ran online?
Okay.
I mean, there's just all kinds of different questions that you just really wouldn't think of. And this is a great tool for content, because think about, these might be good social media posts, these might be good blog topics to consider. So instead of imagining what someone might be actually, what might be a question that your target audience might have, this is where a really good way to find that.
That's awesome. Can we search for
cool?
residence hall?
Oh yeah, sure.
Residence hall, that would be the preferred term that we would really love to see.
Yeah. Okay, so give me back residence hall.
That is so cool. And really just looking at, thinking about what questions our students have, but being really good about, maybe these are things we haven't thought of, right? It's been a long time since I moved into a residence hall. I don't know what students are asking right now.
Yep, exactly. So here we go. Are residence hall linens good quality? What are the residence hall requirements? How to write a residence hall address? How to pick a residence hall? How to decorate a residence hall? So these are great topics that your audience is asking, and that's what I love about this particular tool, is because we're not just guessing, we're actually finding out.
That's amazing. And you were talking about the importance of blog topics. Look at all those posts and options that we can create right there. Students want this information.
Yeah.
What about linens, sheets? These are questions they are having right now, June 22nd, 2016, thinking about moving into their residence halls in a couple of weeks. Sheets, blankets, towels, pillows, and how can we answer those questions better for our students?
Right, exactly. So moving down the tool sheet that I've provided for you, this is one that we use for tweets. It's just a tool that we use for tracking tweets. And so I just wanted to share that with you. So this is residence hall, and so now we see what's actually in real time right now. So there's 74,900. This is not real time. That's right. This is archive. So archive tweets for residence hall. So this is going to give you, that more history as well, which will hopefully be really useful for you. So you might want to even narrow this down, United States. So you could do your particular organization or your particular city, state, and like that. And so really kind of narrow it down. So you can play around with this. This is another great way of getting, content ideas and really finding out what's happening out there. We're kind of running out of time, so I want to show you the Google Alerts. Are you familiar with Google Alerts?
I am, but I don't think people use them as much as they could be. They really don't understand how to do it.
This is just attached to your Google account, and you can just go in and go to Google Alerts, and you can set up an alert for anything that makes sense to you. So residence halls, United States, maybe like that. And so what happens with this is that you get these alerts that are on a daily basis, or you can set it up to get a weekly aggregator, where you're going to get information on what's actually been posted or is news that is across the internet. And you're going to have that information on a daily basis. And that I've used this a lot for social posting and being able to share content that way of what's actually happening.
And you can set Google alerts for things like usernames, right? So seeing when students are talking about your campus,
Yes.
And so that way we're able to monitor the conversation a little bit better as well, I would think, right?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Here's another tool that we use a lot, which is our #TagifyMe. And basically, this is information on hashtags. So you can see we can roll over these and we get information on how popular different hashtags are. And this is a way of finding keywords that we might want to do research on. So let's see, residence hall. Let's see what comes up with that. And then we also get information on the side top recent media. So this can kind of take us down a road. So we start with residence hall. We have class of 2019. We have college life, dorm, fire alarm, so many drunks, college freshmen. You know, so this can give you keywords that you can use that you can actually do more research. We also see top influencers with this. So we can get information about who's influencing these different hashtags, usage patterns, a variety of different, oh, it wants you to pay for that particular one, but just knowing what hashtags are good and then are that, you know, are trending and are popular. And then what I like to do is use Tagboard. Once I have the hashtag, so when I look here, I see that college life is a really big one. So let's kind of switch over and use college life as a hashtag. So then I use Tagboard. College life. And you can create your own tag board for that. It's kind of like in Pinterest, how you collect different hashtags. But this also can really lead you directly to people that are posting, you know, related to your hashtag. You can see this on Twitter as well as Facebook and Instagram as well. And so now we have a good sense of what are those hashtags that students are actually using. Who are some of the students that are actually posting those kinds of things? You can go into their profiles and take a look at the kinds of things that they're posting about. You can use these hashtags when you're doing your own content. So there's all kinds of things. You know, kind of running out of time here, but this is just
we started late and people are loving these resources. So
oh, okay, great. Yeah,
we'll go as long as we can keep you.
I love them too. Ice Rocket is another one. Let's take a look at that one. Again, this is, you know, looking at top searches. Let's see, and this is really a good one for blog topics, actually. So it'll generate different blog topics. So let's see college life here. And what it does is it brings up other blogs that are being posted. And this can just be really good information. You can not only look at the blog itself as an example or for ideas, but also you can look at the comments that are on a lot of those blog posts and they gain a lot of information. So, you know, here, this didn't seem like it really came up as a real close fit, but a lot of times this is one of the tools that I like to use. How to simplify your life. So sometimes you have to get really specific, like you have to put like put it into
maybe going to college or moving to college.
Mm-hmm. 5 easy 30-day challenge. Let's see here now. Going to college, maybe. Yeah, maybe this one may have to be a little more.
Or maybe even things like financial aid or how to find scholarships or something like that. I can imagine a lot of our students are really interested in that. Oh no.
Yeah, so you can play around with it, but it does Rotary Awards, scholarships. Here we go, academic paper. Just From rags to riches, not an impossibility. That looks like a great one. So yeah, that was a good idea. Thanks. Social report. This is actually one, this is my tool that I use primarily for doing my work, all my social media work. And I'm just going to log in right now and let you take a look, because I love this tool. I use this to get key metrics a lot of times for my audience. And so this tool is a great one for knowing, for example, who is your audience. And actually what's nice is once you use this tool and you've put in, say, a Facebook, a LinkedIn, a Twitter account that has members or followers, what this can do is give you very good information on who they are, what their, a little bit about their history, the age, the gender. You know, this can help to give you more actual information instead of sort of guessing. So this is just a really great tool. We track all kinds of different things on here besides doing our audience research. But again, you know, looking at locations, it can give us even more specific information, such as the cities where, you know, our audience is located. Does it fit with who we're trying to reach out to? A lot of times, you know, you might find that you have people that are really interested in New York, but your organization is in Eugene, Oregon, so, you know, it doesn't really fit. So we need, that just tells us as marketers, we need to do a better job of marketing locally, and those kinds of things. Yeah.
Interesting. So, does anybody have an account they want to share? Is there anybody following us on Twitter that would like to see this go live for their campus or for their handle? How about at Dartmouth? DARTMOUTH. Maybe their Twitter?
So that's not something we can do. So this is something that you have to pay for.
Okay.
And so, but it's not, you know, there's a very reasonable, I think it's $19 a month to get started, and there's a free trial that you can use. It would take a while to get it set up, and it actually takes a little while to populate.
Okay.
A day or two. So, but it's something that if you're interested in, use that free trial, get on here, get the information that you're looking for, and decide if this is maybe a tool. I use it for publishing a lot. And so let's see if I can find the calendar. So I do all my publishing right through here. I'm able to track, you know, maintain all of my the work that I've done. All the images that I've used are in here. We do use search agents. So this is where we're doing a lot of searching of influencers across all the different social media accounts. And there's lots and lots of things that would take a long time to really set this whole up. We have a whole address book of all of our clients here. So this, you know, this is a great way, again, to get a sense of who are your followers, who's out there, and then you can refine your marketing campaign.
Wow. That's awesome. Definitely. We'll have to play with that some more for sure.
Yeah, and then let's take a look at Social Searcher. Another one that we use. So, and there's a few that I put on here that they are they're paid versions. I tried to make sure, like Viral Heat, Engage, or a couple on here that are really worth looking at and considering from an enterprise position or even a department. They're just absolutely wonderful tools. There is a charge for them, but they're really amazing as far as gaining insights. So I just kind of wanted you to know, I tried to find ones that had at least a free trial so you could give it a whirl. But so while that was populating, so here's Social Searcher. So here's just another way of looking at, you know, doing search, researching, using the internet, which is just an amazing tool, you know, for gathering information about your target audience and their buyer's process, quite honestly. So for some reason, when I put in residence hall, it's bringing up lots of like real estate things. I have no idea why. So let's try college life here, maybe. Let's see if that one will work. So this is kind of cool because this one is a more of a real-time search, and we can use exact keywords if that doesn't work. So while that's going on, I wanted to just show you, here's Viral Heat. This is one of the ones that is really used a lot in our industry for gathering information, listening, analyzing, and this actually has a publisher as a part of it as well. And so it's just really a very robust, solution. There is a fee involved in it, and I think you have to ask for a demo actually. So I just wanted you to know that these kinds of services are out there as well. So let's see, here's Social Searcher. This is the free one that you can use. And here's, current, you can see Twitter, tweets. Here's some on Reddit. So that's another one that I think is pretty popular with your age group that you may want to consider. So again, it's just another way of doing some of that target audience research.
That is awesome. Really, really getting to see what our users and our prospective users, right, our target markets, where are they at? What are they talking about?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes, so that handout is in your in that Dropbox there. And then other than that, I did promise to share with you about Twitter search. So if you go into Twitter, and let me see where I have my Twitter. I have one of the things about being a social media manager is that you're always logging in and out of different people, different businesses' accounts constantly. So here is my personal one. And so let's go right up here to the regular search bar, and let's put it in College Life. I love that one. College Life. And let's just see what comes up. Okay, so again, this is a great tool. I mean, this is actually, when I'm starting my research, I always start here on Twitter. Like, I just get so much great information here. If you come over here to more options, and you come down to advanced search, this gives you a much more powerful search engine that you can use to search Twitter. So we can use all of these words, this exact phrase, any of these words, none of these, hashtags, people, you can add a location, you can do dates, and here's where you can do those emojis. Or you can actually even add them in the search bar. They work now. But let's just say College Life. We want all of those. And so there we go. So now we find people, we find posts, information here. The nice thing about advanced Twitter search too is that it will bring up some of the higher, the most popular posts and most popular accounts. That it will bring them up, rank them higher, kind of like Google does. And so it's really helpful to see what those most popular kinds of information is out there. So U.S. News, Education. So I might want to follow them and take a look, go to their website, take a look at what they have to offer if I wasn't aware of them. Yeah.
That is incredible. I don't think people even knew that was a thing, that you could segment and look by location or filter by sentiment, right? Let's, especially if people are using Twitter as, customer service, we want to know if someone's saying something, positive or negative about our campus, and being able to respond to that and show people that we are actually listening when they're saying things. I think that shows that we do care, and that we do want to be responsive to what our students and our families and our campus constituents, our current people, our staff are saying. And being able to properly search is definitely an awesome option. And easily being able to do it, because I think a lot of us on our campuses, we're teams of one, or we're social media as part of those other duties as assigned sometimes, and that can be difficult to know what all is out there when we just live in this kind of small bubble with ourselves. So these have been awesome.
Yeah, great. So does anybody have any questions, and should I go back and
I don't
stop sharing?
Okay, let's see. We don't have any coming from Twitter. Does anybody have any other last-minute questions you wanted to get answered live? We will, of course, be available afterwards. You can always message us or find us on Twitter, SM4HigherEd. Nobody else has used that hashtag yet, so we're going to grab it. We've had a bunch of people following along today, lots of engagement around the hashtag, so check us out on that back channel. It looks like we are all caught up on questions. We did post that Dropbox link, so be sure to grab all of those handouts. There is so much great information in there. Tons and tons of resources. Veena, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being with us today. This is, my mind is, I'm blown away. Like just all these researching tools, and I'm so excited to jump on there and check out more of it. Do you have any other maybe some final thoughts, some wrap-ups, what you would recommend for people who are maybe still have any lingering questions or doubts, maybe like your top 3 takeaways from this?
Well, the biggest thing I would say, thank you for asking that question, is just that, you know, this is the new world. Like social media is not going to go away and we have to adapt to it, and we have to adapt to the new way of thinking and the way that customers want to make decisions. We no longer are in control of that. We have to, these are the kinds of tools and the kinds of things that we have to do in order to make sure that we are meeting their needs. And so this is just going to grow and change and develop over time. So, you know, making sure that you're staying up to date and current. Mashable is actually a really good place to stay current with the social media world. I don't know if you're familiar with that resource at all.
Social media world? I've never been, but I really want to go. Maybe next year.
Yeah. So I just think, you know, staying on top of it, this is going to continue to evolve in the future. And so, you know, I just hope that these are going to be helpful for you. And I do, you know, and totally love it when anybody reaches out to me, both on Facebook or Twitter. I'm pretty much everywhere all the time. So would love to hear from you if you have any questions.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Veena. I can't thank you enough. This has been amazing. I think all of our viewers would agree that this has been so incredibly insightful and exciting, and we're just so lucky to be able to have you here with us. Wanted to let folks know about, right here at the end, about EDU Web Summit coming up. It's going to be August 1st through 3rd in Denver, Colorado. I will be there presenting. A bunch of other really awesome people in higher ed are going to be there. And because you attended this webinar, the great folks over at EDU Digital Summit will actually give you $100 off your registration fee just for attending this webinar. So
cool.
I know, right? Like conferences are amazing.
Yeah.
Let me show you guys what this is all about. You're going to be able to get a $100 discount. The code for it is EDU webinar. We'll include that link in our comments down there below. But I wanted to let you guys know about this. I'm going to go ahead and screen share this to you guys. So some really great stuff. Digital Summit, higher education, technology, digital space. It's going to be amazing. I'm not just saying that because I'm going to be presenting, but hopefully if you come, you'll come to my session. It's going to be really awesome. But they have an immense amount of information, analytics, research, like just some crazy, crazy, amazing things that are going to happen. Some great exhibitors that are going to be there. If you do social media in higher education, this is your conference. And you get a discount, which is amazing. So it's $100 off. EDU webinar is the tag that you're going to use for that. We'll give you the links for it. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can actually get in touch with the chair, Chris Barrows, chris.barrows@nyu.edu, or you can grab him on Twitter @cbarrows. We'll tweet him after this. But he's one of the chairs of the conference. Amazing guy. If you haven't gotten to meet him, definitely come out and hang out with us in Denver in August. It's going to be a great time. So that is it for our session today. I know we ran out of our time. I'm sorry, but when you're having so much fun, like time just flies. So thank you again to our presenter, Veena. She's amazing. Follow her on Twitter. She posts a lot of great content. You want to be her friend. She is amazing. Follow everything that she says. She's great. And thank you so much to our higher ed social friends who were on us today. And if you missed this session, it's actually going to be up on replay on YouTube right after this. So feel free to check us out, find us, tweet us, let us know how things are going on your campus. We would love to help in any way that we can. As well as if there's any other topics that you want to know about. Is there a platform that you're struggling with? Is there something that maybe a challenge you're having on your campus that you want to throw it out to the team and say, hey, you know, is there anybody out there who can help me with this or help me be better at this? We'd love to do that. We've got a lot of webinars coming up. Next week, we've got one talking about landing pages. We've got a really exciting 360 video one coming up, Pinterest. We're going to have some LinkedIn ones for our departments. Lots of really, really great stuff coming for the higher ed social group. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Thank you, Veena, and hope everybody has the rest of their great week. Have a good one, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. I enjoyed it totally. Thanks. Bye-bye.